Breaking the silence, why what you don't know can hurt you. What if everything you weren't taught is exactly what's holding you back? The silence speaks volumes. The conversations never had, the guidance never given, the truths never shared. For generations of women, especially Black women, this silence has been deafening, creating voids where foundations should be. I recently had the profound opportunity to interview Mary Burch, a revolutionary thought leader whose work has transformed how we understand the impact of information gaps in women's lives. Mary isn't just researching these issues, she's actively dismantling barriers and rebuilding pathways to empowerment for thousands of women across the country. Her insights illuminate how the absence of crucial knowledge about faith, self worth, relationships, and potential creates ripple effects that span generations. Her perspective challenges us to rethink what we consider common knowledge and who has access to it. The dangerous myth we've accepted is that everyone should just figure it out, that somehow magically women should navigate complex systems of faith, finance, relationships, and self worth without explicit guidance. This expectation ignores deep rooted societal inequities and the generational impact of information poverty. Mary Burch's research reveals a startling truth: what you don't know absolutely can hurt you. And what's more troubling, many don't even know what they don't know. Think about it. When economic indicators show growth, who still struggles? When Black women's unemployment rises despite overall economic stability, what's really happening? The Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies has documented how Black women face disproportionate joblessness even in strong economies. These aren't just statistics, they're symptoms of a deeper problem. Let me share something that should disturb you. Black women are often the first to feel the tremors of economic instability and the last to experience recovery. Why? Because many grew up without access to career role models, without accurate information about navigating professional spaces, without the unwritten rules that others take for granted. This isn't accidental, it's systemic neglect that creates predictable outcomes. But here's where it gets interesting and where hope begins to emerge from the shadows. Despite receiving less than 2% of venture capital funding, yes, you heard that correctly, less than 2%, women entrepreneurs, particularly Black women entrepreneurs, are launching businesses at record rates. They're not just participating in the economy, they're transforming it. They're outperforming their male counterparts on ROI metrics. They're building community driven brands that challenge industry norms. How? By actively seeking the knowledge they weren't given, by creating the support systems they never had, by refusing to accept information poverty as their destiny. Consider Louisa Joe's journey, a story that Mary Burch often references as transformative. Joe built an 8-figure business after years of failures, rooted partly in her upbringing. With no existing audience or network at launch, she recognized she'd never received critical knowledge about business or self worth growing up. Instead of accepting this limitation, she invested heavily in coaching programs designed specifically for underrepresented founders. Within 1 year, just 12 months, she grew her sales from zero to over $1 million. This isn't just inspirational, it's instructional. It shows us what's possible when we acknowledge the gaps and intentionally fill them. Mary Burch emphasizes three crucial truths that challenge everything we think we know about success and empowerment. First, your upbringing does not define your destiny. Even if you were never provided with proper guidance about faith, self esteem, or healthy relationships growing up, you have the power to rewrite your story. The script you were handed is not the only one available to you. This isn't positive thinking, it's documented reality for thousands of women who have transformed their circumstances by seeking knowledge they weren't given. Second, empowerment starts with truth telling. We cannot heal what we do not acknowledge. Recognizing difficult experiences, including trauma and unhealthy relationship patterns, is not weakness. It's the crucial first step toward building a fulfilling future. When women begin to name what they weren't taught, they reclaim power over narratives that have limited them. Third, community matters more than we've been led to believe. Surrounding yourself with supportive networks, whether mentors in business or faith based communities, can break cycles of misinformation and uplift new generations of leaders. No one succeeds alone, and pretending otherwise perpetuates harmful myths about individualism and self reliance that have particularly damaged the marginalized communities. These insights from Mary Burch aren't just theoretical, they're transformative. They challenge us to examine not just what we know, but how we came to know it and who around us might be operating with critical information gaps. The consequences of information poverty are real and measurable. When young girls, especially young Black girls, aren't provided with accurate information about faith, self worth, healthy relationships, finances, and careers, they're set up for struggles that have nothing to do with their potential or abilities. This isn't about intelligence, it's about access, it's about the unspoken rules and guidance that some receive as birthright while others are left to decipher complex codes on their own. What would happen if we changed this dynamic? If we prioritize providing foundational knowledge to those who have been systematically denied it? Mary Burch suggests we would see a dramatic increase in empowered leaders unafraid to challenge status quos across every sector. Business ownership growth rates among women, already outpacing men, would accelerate. Mental health outcomes would improve through greater community solidarity and intentional support structures. The data supports this vision. Wells Fargo reports show woman owned businesses increased nearly twice as fast as male counterparts between 2019 and 2023. Female led startups consistently deliver higher returns on investment. Diverse teams foster innovation across industries from technology to wellness. But these successes have come despite the system, not because of it. Imagine what would be possible if we leveled the playing field from the beginning. This isn't just about individual success stories. It's about dismantling systems that perpetuate information poverty while pretending the playing field is level. It's about acknowledging that figuring it out looks very different when you have models, mentors, and accurate information from the start. Mary Birch's work reminds us that the most dangerous gaps aren't always visible. They're the conversations never had, the guidance never given, the foundations never built. And their impact extends far beyond individual lives, shaping communities, economies, and future generations. So, where do we go from here? How do we break cycles of information poverty that have persisted for generations? It starts with truth telling, with acknowledging that many women, especially Black women, haven't been given the foundational tools they need to thrive. Not because they're incapable, but because systems were designed to withhold rather than empower. It continues with community building. with creating intentional spaces where knowledge is shared freely, where questions can be asked without judgment, where gaps can be identified and filled collectively. And it requires institutional change. Organizations must recognize that diversity initiatives fail when they ignore information gaps. Hiring someone without providing the unwritten rules of success isn't inclusion, it's setting them up for struggle. Faith communities must acknowledge their role in either perpetuating or dismantling harmful narratives about women's worth and potential. Educational systems must examine what they assume students already know versus what they actually teach. I want to leave you today with a challenge, a disruption to your thinking that might feel uncomfortable but is necessary for transformation. Look around your workplace, your community, your family, who might be struggling, not because they lack ability, but because they lack information you take for granted. What knowledge do you possess that could transform someone else's trajectory if shared openly and generously? The revolution Mary Burch envisions isn't just about individual success stories, it's about collective liberation through knowledge sharing. It's about recognizing that hoarding information perpetuates inequality, while sharing it creates pathways to empowerment for everyone. Today, I challenge you to become a knowledge bridge. Identify one piece of critical information you weren't taught but had to learn the hard way about finances, relationships, career navigation, or self worth, and share it intentionally with someone who might be struggling in that area. Become the mentor you needed. Create the resource you wished existed. Build the community that could have supported you. Because breaking the silence isn't just about speaking up, it's about speaking truth to those who need it most. It's about ensuring that what you know becomes what we all know. It's about transforming information privilege into information equity. The most powerful act of resistance against systems of oppression is to learn what you weren't taught and then ensure others have access to that knowledge too. What will you share today that could change someone's tomorrow? Who will you become a bridge for? How will you transform what you know into what we all deserve to know? The silence has been deafening, but our collective voices can be transformative. Let's break the silence, not just for ourselves, but for every woman still struggling to navigate systems designed without her in mind. The revolution begins with knowledge shared, and it continues with each of us refusing to keep silent about what others need to hear.